The life story of Blanche Monnier is shocking in its cruelty. It's especially horrifying to know that the villain who tortured the girl was her own mother. The Monniers were considered virtuous townspeople. They generously donated to charity, were devout, and although they had their quirks, overall, the family was in good standing with the citizens of Poitiers. In May 1901, the police department of the French city of Poitiers received a note in which an anonymous person reported that the daughter of the Monnier family had been held captive in their house for a quarter of a century, having disappeared under unclear circumstances 25 years ago. Upon receiving such a letter, the police had to react to it. However, the brave law enforcement officers could not even imagine what they would see in the Monnier house. Even during the police visit, the mother of the Monnier family kept her dignity. During a search of the house, a secret room was found, and when a huge barn lock was torn off from it, the police, who had seen a lot, were horrified. In the corner of a small room with curtains tightly nailed to the window, on a sagging bed, sat a creature that hardly resembled a woman. She was surrounded by piles of garbage, foul-smelling food remains, and excrement. The woman, looking more like a skeleton covered in skin, squinted when the police tore down the curtains and light poured into the room. She was barefoot, her dark, once luxurious hair was matted, her nails were broken. It was Blanche Monnier, who had been searched for 25 years ago but was never found. The girl had spent 25 years in captivity at the behest of her mother. The reason for this was her allegedly immoral behavior. The young beauty Blanche dared to fall in love with a lawyer who, unlike her parents, held Republican views. This was an unacceptable obstacle for the parents, who made every effort to destroy the connection between their daughter and the young man. According to rumors, Blanche's love went quite far, and she even gave birth to a child who later disappeared somewhere. As the neighbors said, maybe he died, maybe he was abandoned in a shelter, who knows, 25 years have passed. After this tragedy, the girl began to experience more frequent bouts of extreme eccentricity. In such moments, she would scream, throw off her clothes, and lean half-naked out of the window. Needless to say, Blanche's already tarnished reputation suffered even more after such eccentric antics. One day, after a similar attack, her mother ordered the servants to lock her daughter in a room and close the windows so that no one would see her shame. At first, her maid looked after her, and her father, who had the most tender feelings for his daughter, tried to do everything to make his little girl feel as good as possible in captivity. He would come to her room, talk for a long time, and read books. However, after the death of her father and maid, Blanche's chances of getting out became non-existent. The new maid was not eager to serve the unfortunate girl, and her mother and brother didn't need her at all. After Blanche's release, all the newspapers in France were filled with articles about the monstrous confinement of the girl and cartoons about her rescue. The most immoral thing is that while Blanche was rotting alive in the dungeon, and her only companions for many years were rats, her closest relatives, her mother and brother Monnier, led a quite respectable life and continued to donate to charity. It is noteworthy that the police never found out who wrote the note that essentially saved the girl. According to one version, it could have been Blanche's brother. Learning about his mother's serious illness, he might have been afraid that after her death, he would become the sole caregiver for his crazy sister. And, deciding to get rid of the burden, he could have written this anonymous note. According to other sources, its origin is less romantic. The maid could have blabbed about the prisoner to her boyfriend, and he, as an honest person, informed the police while maintaining anonymity. Be that as it may, Blanche's own brother Marcel Monnier was found guilty of keeping the girl and sentenced to 15 months in prison. However, he filed an appeal in which he explained that due to a congenital mental disorder, he could not understand that what he was doing was wrong. The court acquitted him. Blanche Monnier's mother died in prison 15 days after her arrest. before the trial. Upon release, Blanche was severely emaciated and weighed just over 24 kilograms, about 53 pounds. She could not walk on her own, and she was carried out of the dungeon wrapped in a blanket. All this time, while the police were inspecting the room and drawing up a report, her mother was calmly sitting in the living room drinking coffee. The girl calmly allowed herself to be taken to the hospital, where she gladly took a bath and agreed to eat a little. Doctors diagnosed Blanche with an extreme degree of exhaustion. After her release, the girl lived for several more years. Her mind never recovered, and it seems she never realized that her lover had died 15 years before her release.